In this video, I'm reviewing and testing out the Cosori Dual Blaze Smart Air Fryer, so let's get started. The Cosori Dual Blaze Air Fryer comes with a 6.8 quarter basket and a crisper tray. The other biggest feature of this air fryer is it has a heating element at the bottom as well as the top. So because of this, you don't have to flip or shake your food. It will use its 360 thermal IQ technology to cook the food evenly on all sides. The LED control panel is very easy to use. It has 6 cooking functions: air fry, reheat, roast, keep warm, bake, broil, and 6 cooking programs: chicken, steak, seafood, veggies, fries, frozen. It has arrows to increase or decrease the temperature and time. My first test was baked potatoes, washed and scrubbed before I poked them all over with a fork. Then I gave them a good rub with olive oil, salt, pepper and garlic powder. I decided to use the bake function at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and since they were big, I set the timer for 50 minutes. I didn't bother to preheat the air fryer first, I just placed the potatoes directly in. And when using the crisper tray, I can fit in these 2 big potatoes and most likely squeeze in a third one. So the basket is nice and big. I did check on them after 40 minutes and the bigger potato needed a little bit more time, so I left them in for the full 50 minutes. And since it was the first time I was using it, I wanted to make sure that the bottom heating element was actually working, so I did flip over the potatoes just to see if the underside was getting cooked, and yes, you could definitely see that they were cooking evenly all over. Once they were done, they looked amazing. Just hear the sound of the crispy skin on these potatoes. Test it with my fork as well to make sure that they're soft inside. And my knife just sliced through them so easily, literally like butter it was. And I do apologize for blocking your view in certain areas. The insides were super soft and fluffy. And then just fluff up the potato a little bit more. And there are so many ways that you can load up these potatoes. Our favorite is to add salted butter, and before I add anything else, I'm actually going to pop them back into the basket because it'll be a lot harder to lift them once they're loaded. Once I've added the salted butter, I'm going to layer on some baked beans. And then I'm going to top it off with lots of cheddar cheese. You can add mozzarella cheese as well if you wanted. Just like a pizza, just add whatever toppings you want. Change it all around. You'll never get bored of this. We never get bored of eating this. Once I loaded them all up, I put them on broil for 4 minutes to melt the cheese. And just take a look at how delicious they looked. My mouth was watering, and you know what, guys, I was so nervous I was going to mess them up while recording this that my hand was actually trembling while trying to take pictures. These were so good and they were amazing. And if this isn't enough for you, you can always load them up even more, just like my husband did, because obviously my version was not enough for him. So he just loaded it up with a lot more cheese, a lot more beans, mayo, and whatever else he could find, salt, pepper, chili powder, and this is his version compared to my version. And he's so proud of it. What do you guys think? Drop me a comment below or let me know what you guys would load up your potatoes with. I baked these Cheddar Bay Biscuits that you can find pre-made from Costco. I had to make them in 2 batches. I removed the crisper tray, and per the instructions on the box, they needed to be baked at 425 degrees Fahrenheit. So I reduced the temperature by 25 degrees and I baked them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, setting the timer for 14 minutes. But the temperature was too high and they were just browning way too quickly, and even though they cooked well before the time, they ended up being a little dry. In hindsight, the parchment paper that I put in should have been cut a lot smaller so that it fits snugly to the bottom of the basket, and that would have avoided the paper curling over my food. Even though I brushed the parchment paper with oil, the biscuits still stuck to it and it was a little messy tearing them off. I cooked the second batch at 350 degrees Fahrenheit without using the parchment paper, and they cooked much better and they were so much easier to take out. So yeah, I'm not really a fan of using parchment paper or liners. The only reason I did it was I followed the instructions on the box and I wanted to see if it was going to make any difference. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about using liners. And just to show you, this is the first batch. They came out slightly dry like I mentioned earlier, and this is the second batch and it was a lot more softer and moist. You can even tell by looking at the texture of it. It's always better to cook it at a slightly lower temperature. I cooked some mini pizza bites together with some fries and selected the fries program, which is set at 385 degrees Fahrenheit, but I reduced the time to 15 minutes. There was still 7 minutes remaining and I could smell the cheese from the pizza bites. So I went to check on them and I'm so glad I did, because all of the cheese was starting to ooze out. And even the fries were ready because they were shoestring fries. They cooked faster, but I think next time if I do use thicker fries, I will lower the temperature down to maybe 350 degrees Fahrenheit so that the pizza bites don't lose out all the cheese. So overall, the Cosori Dual Blaze is definitely one of the easiest air fryers I've used so far. I love the dual heating elements since I don't need to flip or shake my food, unless when I am cooking food without the crisper tray. I'll just flip the food to help remove some of the excess moisture if it leaves a lot of juices flowing. I was initially concerned that the bottom heating element may make my counter hot, but that's not the case. It has sufficient vents on the bottom, the sides and the back to let the hot air out. Plus I really like the built-in handle design at the bottom, so it makes it a lot easier to carry around on the counter if you need to move it back and forth. The VSync app is a great addition. It lets you search for recipes and even notifies you when your food is ready. Another cool thing is you can have your food prepped and ready in the basket, and when you're ready you can start the air fryer on the app if you're busy doing laundry or watching your favorite TV show and you're too lazy to get up. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of using liners or foil. The baskets and the tray are super easy to clean and I see no added benefit in using liners since you still have to wash out the basket. They seem like a waste of money to me and I'd rather spend the extra 2 minutes washing out the basket. This basket is so easy to clean, I don't even need to put it in the dishwasher. Like all air fryers, there is a plastic smell when using it for the first time and maybe a couple more times after that. What works best is to wipe down the inside of the unit, especially the heating elements, and then run it on air fry mode at the highest temperature setting, which is 400 degrees Fahrenheit on this air fryer, for 20 minutes. And once that's done, just take out the basket and leave it to air out any of the lingering plastic smell. This definitely makes a big difference. Otherwise, you're just going to keep all that smell inside the basket and inside the unit, and it's just going to take forever for it to evaporate either through the vents or while you're using it. The size of the basket is great, just under 7 quarters. I can fit in my 8-inch round pan with handles, but I can't fit in my 8-inch square pan with handles. You can also use these foil pans that you can find from the dollar store if you wanted to use it for baking. The crisper tray is a bit tricky to get in. You have to angle it sideways before laying it down. I do find I have to apply a little bit of pressure to try and slide it down. The silicone tabs are there to protect the basket and also to prevent the tray from falling out if you're one of those people that likes to tip over the basket when taking out the food. So don't remove them. Hopefully the more you use it, the tray should become easier to take in and out. There is an option to change the temperature between Fahrenheit and Celsius. Just press and hold both the temperature arrows for about 3 seconds. However, there isn't an option to lower or turn off the beeping sound, which I found a little loud, so some of you may find it annoying. A lot of viewers have thanked me for showing them how to turn off the beeping sound on my other air fryer videos, because it wakes up the whole house when they're trying to cook during night hours or if they have a baby sleeping. And speaking of noise level, we did seem to find this air fryer slightly louder compared to the other air fryers that we've used. The air fryer has a auto pause and resume feature, which is great for when you need to open and check or rearrange your food. And it's funny, sometimes it does this ticking sound. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, when the ticking happens and when it doesn't happen. Alright guys, I really hope you found this video useful. Please don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment as well if you did find it useful, or if you have anything else you'd like to share. If you are new to my channel, do consider subscribing, and I do hope to bring you another video where I will share some more ideas on what to make in the Cosori air fryer. I hope to catch you all in my next video.